Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I put together this fall pumpkin cage centerpiece. Let's get to crafting. Alright, so I'm going to be starting with these pumpkin wire forms, and these are from the Dollar Tree. A lot of people have been using these to do different wall hangings and also some centerpieces, so I decided, you know what, I've had these now for a couple of years and I've never gotten to the video to do this, but I've decided that I want to do it now so I can do one last fall video. Okay, so I want to do the centerpiece where you bring these two together like so. Now I thought about it really hard and I decided that I'm not going to paint it. I wanted to paint it white. I was thinking maybe a cream color, but I never got around to purchasing the paint or the spray paint that I need for this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. Of course, you can paint yours however you want if you decide to do that. All right, so again, I'm going to use two of these. And here I have some styrofoam. This is a 2.9 inch by 3.9 inch by 3.9 inch. So it's almost basically a square like that. And it's just a green styrofoam. I could use white or any other shape really, but I happen to have this. I grabbed this from the Dollar Tree some time ago. I like to purchase them and have them ready for any use. I'm going to be using this as my base for my centerpiece. Now I'm going to want this to be inside of my pumpkins right here, inside the forms, centered in there. So obviously I'm going to go ahead and get it attached to one of the forms first, so then I can cover it with some moss and do it comfortably, and then I think I can just reach in and add things in there because my hands fit in there really well. And I've already tested. I have a little pumpkin that I want to put in there. You can see it right over there, back over there, and there's one over here as well. Okay, so I want to use one of those, and I think it'll fit in here. These are easy to spread and move around, but I want to make sure first that I can get this to stand properly and not move around on me, because I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. So I'm going to take half of the styrofoam right here, right along the bottom edge of the wire here of the pumpkin, and kind of center it as much as I can. And I'm going to just kind of push and pull the pumpkin form through it. So as you can see that right there, just trying to get that in there. Now, if you can't quite get it in there, I've already marked it here. You can get a little knife and just make a thin cut. Don't make it too big because then it'll be too loose and it won't hold the wire. So just make some cuts, just like that, to match the ones from the wires. We want that to be deep enough so the form goes in there. So let's go ahead and test this. Hopefully I did it enough of it. Right there. Okay. Put it back on here. Line it up. Right there. This will just take a little bit of muscle, but it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. It's going in just the way that I wanted it to. Okay. So this is what I wanted. I want this to get in there, but I want to push it up a little bit more. So it has to be a bit more this way, and then I have to straighten it. So there we go, right there. And let me test it with the other one. Okay, so that's making it stand. So now I want to do it for the other side, and I want to go right next to it, obviously. So this is going to go right in there. So what I'm going to do, pull that back out, is I want the bottom of the other one here to be in the same space, if you will. So I'm just going to cut right next to it and just pull out that little slab of styrofoam, and then I'm just going to kind of repeat. Hopefully I did this correctly. I'm going to mark it in a moment, but I'm going to do that just to kind of help myself out a little bit. Okay, so again, I'm going to, oops, this goes the other way. Haha. Line it all up. Yeah, like that. We're going to hot glue that so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to use some little plastic tie backs things. I don't know what they're called. Let's see. Now I want to push this other one do that same bottom piece. It's going to take a little finagling, a little moving around, but we're going to get them in there. This one I need to mark. There we go. And I'm trying to get it aligned as best as I can. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and tie them up at the top and, you know, on the sides here, so it doesn't move on me, okay? So let's do that. Okay, I've got 3 of these cable ties, and I've got them in black. And they have them at the Dollar Tree, but I actually ordered these through Amazon. So I was sitting around and I was remembering that I needed to get some, and before I forgot, you know, I said, I'll just grab them, and I need them for an outdoor project. So I needed some good heavy duty ones. So that's what I have, and what I'm using right now. Okay, I'm going to get them together like that. And then I'm going to do it on the sides as well. You know, the thing is that you got to try things and see what's going to work, and this is what I'm having to do, is I have to try things and see what's going to work the best way. And I don't want the pumpkin wire resting on the table because I feel like it's going to like flip and flop on me. So that's why I decided to stick it into the styrofoam and have that become a base. But if you have a better idea, please share in the comments below so everyone will see your comment. Okay, for some reason that's not very tight. Let's get it a little tighter there. Okay, I think that'll hold it so that I can do all the maneuvering that I need to do. I'm gonna just snap those off. I'll wait and do the top one later. We're gonna worry about this bottom part first. So this is going in just the way that I want it. Look at that. It's going in there. I'm not trying to get them to align perfectly. I'm just trying to get them to align as best as I can. Of course, when I'm doing all this, my items down here are coming out of place, but we're going to glue that in. And then I want to put something in there so it doesn't pop out. Okay, so now I'm just aligning these two so they're flat next to each other. So I want to also make sure that the ends of the cable ties are kind of inside there so they're not going to like scratch up my table. There we go. In there. Let's check it out again. See how it's leaning? It's leaning towards me, so I gotta tilt it until it's in the right position. So now I'm gonna put some glue on all of this so it stays right where it's at. Start putting some glue in there. So I'm gonna reach in, and then on the other side, make sure this is straight. I'm going to turn it upside down to make sure that everything is inside the styrofoam. So there we go. I want to make sure that everything, all this, is not sticking out at the bottom. Making sure it's all straight the way that I want it. This little tie back, or cable tie, I'm going to trim it a little bit more because that little bit is sticking out and I don't want to scratch my table. So this is what I have. It took a little, you know, a little maneuvering, just a little patience, and you can get it in the position that you want it. Okay, so now we can add lots of glue in there. And by lots, I mean lots. Now, I'm going to take the little bits of glue that I mean not the glue, the little bits of the styrofoam that I pulled out. I'm just going to push them in there. And just push it so that it's all flat and not sticking out so that you don't have something, you know, scratching your table or making it uneven, which this will probably end up being with my luck. Okay, I'm just going to add more glue and just let it dry a little bit at a time. And add more glue, and just to make sure, you know, everything's where I want it to be. All right, so I've added the glue like I showed you, and then I let it dry for a little bit. So I'm going to take a piece of this item that I have down here. This is that little shelf lining They sell these at the Dollar Tree, pretty much anywhere, but this is an inexpensive one that I purchased some time ago. I had this little piece. I was protecting my table, and I thought, well, let me go get some felt or something so that I can put now at the bottom here, so that, again, extra protection, so that you don't scratch up any table surface wherever you put this down on. Or if you give it as a gift, of course, you don't want it to be scratching up, you know, your friend's item. So I have this, so I just said, you know what, I'm just going to cut a piece from here, and I'm going to just cut a nice little piece that I feel like is wide enough, and then I'm just going to put it against here, sure enough, right about here, and I'll trim it. And it's okay if it's a little bit larger, a little bit wider, bigger, whatever. And then we're going to glue this here at the bottom, okay? You could do that with some felt or a denim piece of fabric, a little piece of leather, vinyl, whatever you happen to have. Maybe an old plate mat or placemat. Those plastic ones. Sometimes I use them to paint on. And then, of course, they're not good for the original purpose anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to put this on here. Don't ask why I turned it. It doesn't matter, as long as I've got the bottom here. And now I can go ahead and trim off if it's a little big, but it's going to get covered up pretty much. I mean, you could roll it up and just glue it down like that. It's no big deal. So let's just trim those pieces off just a little bit. And I can feel the warmth on my hand. Okay, that's trimmed, but now we have the bottom covered like that, see? And then you turn it sideways so you can look at it. So I'm going to turn it so I can look at it. And I'm going to put another cable tie up here and another one over here, just to keep those little edges, you know, together. I'm not going to worry about this side right here because I don't want to see the cable ties. But up here I can hide them with my ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 cable ties up there. All right, so the most difficult part, it's not really difficult, it's just, you know, a little bit extra work, a little more patience, is actually putting this together with the styrofoam. If you want to put it together and then stick the styrofoam in there and push it down, I mean, that was obviously the best way to do it, rather than doing half like I was thinking about doing, then decorating it and then putting the other half on there. I think I would have struggled a lot more. So we're learning as I'm learning. Okay, so you learn from my mistakes, and then we'll see what the solution to the problem can be. Okay, so I think this is a really good solution. I think it looks great. Now we're going to cover this with some moss. All right, so I'm just going to be using this really pretty, kind of a coppery rust brown color of Spanish moss. You can use whatever you want, green if you prefer. And then I'm going to be using these greenery pins or U pins. Some people call them S pins, but they're best known as greenery pins. We're going to be using that to adhere the moss to the styrofoam. And I really want to cover basically just the sides because I don't want anyone to see that styrofoam here. So I'm going to cover that, and then once we add some items, if we see that we need to put more of this moss in there, we will. Okay, so I'm going to take this moss, like I said, I'm going to be covering this up. All right, so as you can see, I've already got the moss on there, and I want to add some pumpkins. I didn't put any moss on the top here because I feel like I'm going to cover a lot of that with my little decorations, so and the flowers and such that I'm going to put in there. So I felt like we don't need to put any moss on there. Let's not waste any, and then we can see where the styrofoam is when we're adding things. I want to put these little pumpkins in there. I don't know if I want to use all of them, but see, I can easily reach in with them. I kind of wanted to do like these 2 on each corner, and then maybe make this one a little bit higher. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to take some little wooden pieces. You can use little dowels, little skewers, popsicle sticks, whatever you have, or you know, that you can trim easily, that will poke through the styrofoam. Okay, let's grab these out of here, and we're going to prep them. And as you can see, this one's going to go kind of at an angle, so this is actually going to be the bottom, so we're going to just keep an eye on where we want our stick. It's going to be in this little corner, and it's going to be kind of like that, a little lifted. So we're going to just melt a hole in there. You can pour some glue in there, and then we can take one of our sticks and put that right in there. Okay? This way becomes a pick, and then we can stick it into the styrofoam. But we don't need this long stick, So we're just going to trim just enough so we can insert this, and then this can kind of rest on the styrofoam. So we'll do that and just carefully put it through so you don't burn yourself. You could always reach in with a hot glue and wait till you get it in there. Okay, so now we're gonna stick that right in there, just like that. There's a little bit here that's chipped, so I'm gonna add a little bit of glue there. Push that down. Beautiful. Okay, so now I want to do this on the opposite corner over here, so I'll just repeat the process. All right, this one I wanted a little bit taller. This looks like it's enough. Just put some glue in there. We're creating some picks, is what we're doing. Reach in there. And just put it right there. And then we can cover this little area as the opposite area with some flowers and some greenery. All right, so I'm going to start with an end here, and straight end about 1.5 inches or so, maybe, you know, not any longer than the height of the stem. So just not any taller than that. Okay, so then we're just going to take and start curling it around a finger or a pen, a stick, a little dowel, whatever you have. Don't put it around too tight, because then you can't uncurl it. And I want a good amount, so I pulled it out, and then I did some more. So that's good enough for me, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it right there. And there we go, just like that. You could use chenille stem instead. Now, this little wire jute obviously has some wire in there, and then it's got all these little ropes twirled around it, and it kind of comes undone. So I've already done this several times, and it keeps getting undone on me, so I've started it over. But the trick is to put some glue right where it ends, so that the little thread fibers don't pop open. So we just want a little thing like that, and then you could bend it wherever direction you want. Okay, we're going to take that, and we're going to attach it to our what is this? It is our stem. So I'm just going to put some glue down on the wire part, and then put this on there. Or you could curl it around. You could curl a little stem around that, just like that. Actually, I want it to be a little bit higher, so let me move it upward while I make a mess out of everything. Okay, so now I'm going to take this jute here, and probably a thicker one would be better, but this is what I happened to grab really quickly. And I'm just going to start wrapping it around the stem part a bunch of times. Get a thicker one, it would be better. Or you can use the, you know, this one here, the wire one. Why don't we do that? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here we're learning something else. We don't need this one. We're going to go ahead and use that. So again, we're going to, let me put more glue because that one kind of got dry a little bit. Okay, so we're going to put that on there, and because it has wire, it'll be great because I can actually shape it around these wire parts here. Now, I don't need to have it perfectly start at the bottom because we're going to put bow here, but I want to cover it as much as I can. So I'm just going to wrap it around and then slide it and then kind of bend it so it gets into the shape of the stem. Oops, let's get this over here. And we'll just keep doing that, okay? And don't worry about your little curly cue. You can always curl it again or stick it on there in a nice long piece first, and then do all of this and then do your little curls. Whatever is easier for you. And then as you go along, every so often, add some glue. Just a little bit, just so it just stays together. And this was a brand new packet of this wire jute, so that you can see how far it actually goes. See, I still have some, but it's not a lot. So one of these little packages is going to be perfect for this little project here. Okay, so I'm almost done. I'm going to push this out this way, get out of the way, so I can wrap this top part, and I don't have that little curly Q sticking out, which I should have thought about it way earlier. Is have it coming out somewhere down here instead of way up here. So, you know, just think about that as you're wrapping it around. Maybe you want to pull this out of the way and then wrap over it like I'm doing here now. So that's all I'm going to do, and then just make sure you put plenty of glue when you're already getting at the end here, so that your little rope doesn't come undone. All right. And this actually worked out a lot better because it has that wire. All right, so what I want to do to finish it, let me trim off, oh, there it is, came off. Okay, see how you can see that little edge there, the wire? I want to make sure I cover all that up. And I have plenty of this, or at least just enough to do this. But I'm trying to put plenty of glue. Perfectly done, thankfully, like I said, for that wire. And one more time, let's check it. I think it's going to need one more bend like that. Push that wire down. Let's go ahead and trim it right there and add some more glue so we can put that in there. Use your little silicone fingertip protectors, you guys. So there you go. That's what I did right there. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go on to the next step. Oops. Let's fix our little curly Q right here. There you go. All right. All right, so now I'm going to want to add some flowers, and I've got lots of stems here left over from other floral bushes that I've worked from, and look at how many I have left over in stems. So I'm going to use some of these. I have these little bits, and I know that these, well, at least these right here and this flower, I'm not sure about the sunflowery one, but these came from a bush from Walmart, and these little bits here as well. So I'm going to use that. And then I've got a greenery bush here that I believe I also got from Walmart. I may have gotten it from a store called At Home because I did purchase some flowers from there. I'm trying to use what I have left over, so you can do the same thing. And of course, now, even if it's like little miss pieces from one bush and not from a different bush, but the colors coordinate, you can use them. Because, you know, if you went out in nature and you picked out some flowers, you might not find, you know, even amounts of everything. You know, just get what you can. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use some greenery, and I want to put some greenery down here at the bottom because I want it to kind of, you know, come out a little bit out of the pieces of wire here. So I want to get some long ones like this, and let me find another two that are similar. They don't have to be exact so that I can do them on the other side. Okay, so I've got this really long one. I'm going to compare it. So if I push it in there, it's going to stick up a pretty good amount, and I really like that. If you don't want that, you want it to be shorter, of course trim your stem, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that length. And here's the reason why I don't hot glue my Spanish moss. Rather, I use those greenery pins, and I'm going to tell you this is a great investment if you grab those, because it makes the application of the moss super easy. You don't burn your fingers, but also when you're pushing greenery in there, you don't have a puddle of glue. So like if you're trying to push in your greenery, you can, because you put so much glue everywhere to stick the moss that there's nowhere to puncture. So with pins, there's always a spot. Even if the pin's right there, it's so thin that you can, you know, puncture on either side of it. Okay, so this one I am going to cut it a little bit shorter because I do want to fill in the green area, this little area here, this little open area. Put it right here and just push it in where I want it, right there. And see how I have that greenery kind of coming out the sides here? I love that. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. And I'm going to use the whole length, just so it sticks up a little bit extra. Now when I was putting these in, this is a little bit longer. I put the longer one on this side. So when I'm going to put it on this side, I'm going to go opposite. So always opposite, okay? So then the shorter one is on this side. I'm going to put it on that side. You know, on the other side of this side. I'm going to call it a cage, a pumpkin cage. Because, you know, we've cut it. Look. So many times that I cut these, and I already know my lengths. This is what I had cut from the other stem. This is where I had my wire cutter. I just picked it up so I can show you. Look at that. They're base, well, pretty much exact. So let's cut it. Look, it's almost exact. Almost exact. Yes. After some practice, you know, you get to cutting things and then you kind of just know just by looking at it. All right, so then this one, oops, I turned it around too much. This one goes on this side because they are on the opposites. There we go. See that? Look how pretty that's already looking with all that greenery. Okay, now I want some greenery right here as well. So I'm going to take another one of these long ones. Let me make sure I have another one just like it. Yes, I do. I'm going to push all this to, actually, I'm going to use these shorter ones because I think I want to use these up here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to take these. It doesn't really matter, whatever you like. I'm going to make them like really short. Push up all the leaves up together. Don't have them all going the same, you know, like that direction. You know, you can twist them, twist so that you have, you know, more of a crisscross of greenery. And I can always put some glue, or you can always put some glue there so it doesn't move on you. Okay? And you can prep them all like this ahead of time. And this one I'm going to cut it short because I don't want it to stick up too much. And just a little bit of greenery. I mean, sorry, a little bit of glue. Now, if you don't want to glue these, you can just insert them in there, and then you can just easily pull them out so that you can put away your supplies after the season, undo your whole arrangement if that's what you want to do. And like me, I like to reuse a lot of stuff, but it doesn't bother me pulling it out if I add a little bit of glue. Okay, now we want a short stem. I want to see how good I was. Almost even. Okay, just with a little bit of an eyeballing. So it's not like, oh, I wasn't looking at all. I saw the stem on the table. I did. Okay. Push that in. I noticed this one's got like double leaves. Look at that. It had a double leaf on there. Okay. Beautiful. We got all that greenery on the bottom already. Look how pretty the pumpkins look in there. Wow. I think it looks really pretty. I hope that you do too so far at least. All right. So now we're going to get these longer ones. Again, I'm going to push everything up and then, of course, twist things so that you don't have, you know, all the leaves all bundled up, you know, like that, but rather in a little crisscross. And these, I'm going to measure it like that. This is the edge of the top of the styrofoam, and then just a little bit extra to insert. Pop that off. A lot of times I put in my flowers first, but for whatever reason, I'm doing my greenery. And this is kind of coming off the corner over here. So now I'm going to do on the opposite side, the other corner. Push everything up. Okay, let's do that again. About right here, a little bit extra. There we go. My sticks are almost exact. Now, I kind of missed this one with like half an inch. Okay, let's do the other side. You do that for yourself. Practice doing your floral arrangements. Check yourself and see how good you're getting at it. Okay. All right. So now I've got beautiful flowers, and I'm going to start off with these because I love them. Let's see. I want one right here. So I've already measured it against the edge of the top of the styrofoam, and then I'm going to give it a little bit extra for the insert into the styrofoam. And whatever I do on this side, I'm going to repeat it on the other side. So I'm just going to bend my flower. So you have your stem. Here's your flower. Bend the stem like that a little bit, okay? So that the flower is here rather than way up here. And then it's not crashing with the pumpkin here, okay? So look how pretty that looks. And then look from the top. You can still see it. So I didn't bend it that much, okay? So whatever I do on this side, I'll do on the other side. But let's go ahead and continue so that you can see what I'm doing. And then I can just finish the other side. I'm going to add this flower right underneath it on this side. So again, I just need a little bit for the height. So then a little bit extra to insert. And I don't want it bent right there. I want it bent up here. So let me show you against the, can you see that? Oops, no. I'm trying to get you the white, the background of my hand. See a little bend right there. That's all it is. Those of you who have been watching my videos know that I do that, so I hope that you're catching on to that. But if you're new and you're watching this, or you haven't really, you maybe just like to watch the food videos, look at that. That's already filling in really nicely my whole arrangement. Again, whatever I do here, I'm going to do on the other side. And look at these little pumpkins. These were on the stems also. Now let me look at this one. See, this one has this different greenery than this one does. I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to push it all up, just like that. Maybe I'll glue this one on there just to give it some extra. Why don't I do that? Look, let's put a little bit of glue right here, and then just glue it down here at the bottom. And look, we've already added another leaf on there just to give it another, you know, another little look. Okay, so these I don't want them that big, but I do want them coming out of here. So I'm going to more or less here, eyeball it. And I'm just going to cut a little bit, just a little bit. Add some glue and push it in. I'm going to bend it just a little bit, just so it's not like the stem's not sticking out that way. It's popping up. Okay, so whatever I do on this side, I'll do it on the other side. Okay, I'll save this. And I feel like I need another flower. So we're going to go ahead and take another one of these, cut it short. It's not going to go very far, and I'm going to push it from the side right here. And you can see here, I've got 3 different flowers, 2 of one and one that's different. And that's okay. That looks really pretty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. I also have these bits here, which I can also insert in there somewhere, maybe coming out from the bottom. I like that. A couple, maybe one on each side, and then one coming out right here. Let's do that. Let's cut this one short. I've got something in the oven and I can hear that going off. Okay, right there. That'll cover up where you can see any little empty spaces. That'll cover up right there. Let me bend it a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to put one down here at the bottom. Okay, I'd like this one for the top. Let's see that one. It has to be kind of long, so we're just going to trim a little bit. And we can go way down here and insert it. Look at that. And then just bend it. And you push it in a little bit more because it's a little too wobbly. Let me hold on to the styrofoam. There we go. In there. Get in there. Okay, so once it's on the table, it'll push up like that. See? Okay. I'm going to repeat everything I just did to the other side, which is this side and this back side, or, you know, it's a centerpiece, so whatever. Okay? And I shall be back. Okay, so now I'm going to create some bows for the top of my pumpkin. I have these ribbons. I got these from the Dollar Tree. They're really wide. So I'm not going to make my bows, or I'm going to try not to make my bows too big because they're going to overtake my arrangement. But I want to use all 3. I can't decide on which one. So I want to use a combination of all 3. And I'm wishing this was a little bit less, you know, a little bit more narrow. But I'm going to work with what I have. Because like I said, this is my last fall video and I just want to use what I have in my home already. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to be using this floral wire. This is a 24 gauge floral wire. Now I always recommend that you get wire that's either on a little paddle like this or on a spool, rather than just wire that's just like wrapped on itself, because it always ends up getting tangled up. So anyway, you can use this, or you can use some chenille stems. I already cut myself a couple of long pieces here, so they're ready. Okay, so I'm going to do my little bows a little different from what I normally do. I'm just going to take, I don't know, how long is this? Maybe, this is maybe 16 inches. If this is about 8, or it's anywhere from 16 to 20 inches, I'll just say that. This might be 8 or 10. I used to be able to measure everything very nicely, but now I can't. Yeah, because this isn't even like 36 inches. This is maybe like 20 at the most. So I'm going to take about that amount, and we're going to see what we can do. So I'm going to cut 2 of the same, and I'll show you why in a moment. Maybe I only need 1, but I'm going to do 2 bows. The simplest, easy way to do bows, especially when you want to use a combination of ribbons. I'm just cutting it straight. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I've done that for this one, so now I'm going to use the other 2. And I'll be back. All right, so now I have 2 pieces of every one, so I'm going to take 1 of each of my ribbons here. And let's see, how did I stack them? Does it matter? No, it doesn't. Okay, let's grab this, this, and then this. Put it out of the way, right over there. We're going to take this one. We're going to grab 1 of them and just loop it like that and pinch it all together. See, that's all you're doing. Grab your next one. It doesn't matter what order. It's up to you if you want to just do everything precisely the same. I don't care to. I'm just going to put them like, well, I say I don't care to, but it happens anyway. Okay, now the other one, I can go ahead and use my wire and wrap them all. And always twist the ribbon rather than twisting the wire, because all you're doing is you're wrapping the wire on itself all to get to the end. But we want to keep these ends open, so we don't want to twist out onto the wires. We want to twist the wire that's going towards the bow. So to do that, you grab it, you hold it from here, and then you just twist your bow. That tightens up that little, of course don't do it too much if you're using a really thin wire, because it'll just break. Okay, so then you have your loose. I just did a little bit too much, so I'm going to untwist these. I'm going to leave these here, these 2 wires coming out of each side here against the table white. Leave these 2 wires so that I can use that to wrap on my the wire of my, I'm going to call it a cage, my pumpkin cage. Okay, so these, I'm going to fold them. You could do just angles, but I'm going to fold them and do little dovetails. So that's what I'm getting, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing with this other one, and that is it, you guys. We'll put it on top of the pumpkin. All right, so my bows are ready to be put on my pumpkin cage. Forgot what I was calling it. I keep wanting to say basket. But then I realized, you know, it's like really big. I put it up against and it's really big bow. So like I said, I would rather use a much more narrow, not even a 2.5. I'd want to use maybe a 1.5 inch wide ribbon, because it's super big and I don't want to hide any of my arrangement. So what I've done here, as you can see this one, is I've taken them and right at the center of the loops, I push it down. You know, you can pinch it down like that, kind of create like a little heart shape there, and that helps to make it look like the loop. Well, you know, the loops are smaller, but then it also makes it look like you have more loops on your bow. There we go. This is something that I like to do like during Valentine's Day, but that actually makes my bow a little smaller. Also, the loops aren't so big. I mean, obviously the volume of the bow is still there, but not like the height of it. So that just pushes that down, so we can go ahead and put it on our pumpkin. All right, so I'm just gonna take the wire and then just kind of wrap it around here as best as I can. It's gonna cover a little bit of what I've done, which, you know, that's why I'm saying use a smaller wire. I mean, sorry, a thinner ribbon, not a wire. Okay. I'm just wrapping it from one side, and then you could trim the ends of your wire if they're too long, or curl them, you know, up into the bow. Push the little ends, the sharp ends, and then just poof it, and I'll turn it around. Oops, and I'll do it on this other side as well. And then just maneuver your loops around and the little tails so that you cover all, you know, the little bits inside of there at the bottom of the stem. Okay, so that's it. All right, everyone, I have completed my, what is this, a fall pumpkin cage centerpiece. I really, really love the way that it all came out. Let's pan out so we can see the whole thing right here. There you go. It is the same on the back as it is the front. Since it's a centerpiece, it doesn't really have a front or a back. But there you go. That is the other side. The view from this side, and then the view from this side. And my little bows. And then you can barely see my little stem in there. And a little twiggy part up at the top, a little curly Q. So there we go. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. And all right, so I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. And leave a kind comment down below and let me know what you think of this arrangement. Also, if you're enjoying the content of my video, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And then you'll see the little notification bell. So please hit that little bell and choose all so that you get notified of all of my videos as soon as I upload them. Once again, thank you for watching. Please share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.